Welcome everyone. Today we're making biscuits, but these are not your grandmother's biscuits. We're making ANZAC biscuits. First of all, I'd like to apologize for my disheveled appearance. Day job's got me running around like a madman. I know. You only tune in to look at my beautiful self. All right, you came for the food, so we're gonna do that. So what's an ANZAC biscuit? That's a good question. I'll answer that, but let's get the first thing out of the way. This is not a biscuit like you think a biscuit, my fellow Americans. It's a biscuit that's a cookie. They call cookies biscuits in Australia, although I'd probably put sausage gravy on this biscuit because, I mean, why not? It's sausage gravy. So ANZAC, A-N-Z-A-C, stands for Australia and New Zealand Army Corps. These biscuits, cookies, we'll call them biscuits because that's what they're called. These biscuits were sent overseas by mothers and wives during World War I. They would bake these cookies and send them. And they contain no milk, no eggs. They're shelf stable, so they would hold up to that trip to get to the soldiers, and it's become a national tradition. There's actually an ANZAC Day where they celebrate the Australia and New Zealand Armed Forces, and they bake these cookies. But these cookies are also a common after-school treat with a special drink that we're going to check out a little bit later. But let's get to the biscuits. What's in these ANZAC biscuits? Well, let's start with 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of rolled oats, and 1 cup of dried coconut. This is unsweetened because we're going to be adding, well, we got a lot of sugar, so we don't need the extra sugar from here. We have 1 stick or 1/2 cup of butter. There's also 1 tablespoon of water in the bottom of this. We're going to melt this down. Then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda to this mix. And there's one more ingredient I have to get to. I have a confession to make. I don't have one proper ingredient. This recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of golden syrup. Well, golden syrup is not exactly easy to find here in the United States on a regular basis, especially now during the holidays. So the substitute for it is 1 tablespoon of molasses and 2 tablespoons of light corn syrup. So that's what we have here. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. All right, so the first thing we got to do is melt this butter. We don't want to boil this butter. We don't want it to be overly hot. We just want to heat it up enough to melt the butter. If we get it too hot, the baking soda won't do its thing. All right, so in the pot, we have the butter and the water. We're going to add the 1 tablespoon of syrup. Little trick, if you spritz your spoon with a little cooking spray, the syrup will slide right out of it without sticking. Got 1 tablespoon. And most of it comes right out. This is thick stuff. So now I'm going to turn this on to a just shy of medium. Again, we want this butter to melt, but we do not want it to boil. We want to keep the temperature just at a melt point till it's all melted. Occasionally give it a little stirring with your paddle. Let's see how Raj likes this one. Hey Raj, what am I doing?
Stirring it.
You're not going to say it, are you?
Come
on.
Fine, you're stirring it up.
Little darling.
That's not going in.
Yes, it is. And we'll break it up. Little darling. Gentle melting. Gentle melting. This is getting there. Once this is completely melted, we take it right off the heat. Keep going. Just keep melting. Just keep melting. Just keep melting, melting, melting. All right, this is starting to get to the point of being done. Like I said, as soon as it's completely all melted, we take it right off the heat. Butter's just about ready, but I wanted to mention that this recipe came as special request by Maddie, who lives down in Brisbane, Australia, and has been asking me to make these. And I'm really excited about it because I have a super sweet tooth. I love sweet stuff, so I'm stoked to try these out. Probably another 30 seconds, if that. All right, and off the heat. To the pot. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Let's get that over. I'm going to stir this in good. It's going to start to get a little bit of froth on top. That's going to do its magic in the liquid, in the dry stuff. All right, so we got the baking soda in the butter. We're going to mix the wet to the dry. Get all of that in there. Now we're just going to mix this up until everything's moist. This is going to be a very, very tight dough. I'm losing stuff. Come on. Now I like to break it up with the edge of the spoon like this, just to make sure that everything is together. Now this relatively loose dough is going to get scooped. It's still a little dry on the bottom. It's going to get scooped out with the little disher into little balls and go on the pan. There we go. We have a cookie tray lined with parchment. We're going to scoop them in. Now they're all set up on the pan, into the oven, 18 to 20 minutes. I love you, I'll see you later. So if you remember earlier, I said we have a beverage to go along with this. This is Milo. This is not sponsored by Nestle, so if Nestle wants to give me money, please. But this is a drink that's popular in Australia and a lot of Southern Pacific countries, South America. Not really popular here in the United States, but we're about to check it out. Maddie has described this as chocolatey sand. So let's see what happens. I got my lucky 8-ball glass, some milk, some Milo. Let's put it together and see what happens. So it's said to use a lot of this. So we'll go with 1, 2, 3. All right, I have a slight confession, if you will. The kids already got into the Milo, and there's not a whole lot of it left, so I'm going to do the best I can. So we got the Milo in the glass. Give it some milk. That's about good. Give me a little room to stir. Oh yeah, bartending skills right here. All right, so first impression, it doesn't mix as well as Nestle Quick. If you take a look at that. It's got some chunky floating on top. I think this is what is described as the sand. You're supposed to scoop it off. It's crunchy. Yum. Really good. It's like chocolate malt milk. Let's get this angle. It doesn't make the milk very chocolatey, but that crunchy, malty, sugary sand on top is delicious. I'm going to save the rest of that for when the biscuits are done. We'll be back when they're done. All right, these guys are done. Let's take them out for the big reveal. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. These smell so good. Let's, ooh. Oop. There we go. Get them onto the trays. These smell... You got a little hint of the coconut, but there's a very strong caramel smell. I mean, you got a lot of sugar and butter in there. Just a very sweet, comforting. Actually, it's a good way to say it's a very comforting, cozy kind of smell. Can't wait to taste them. Got to let these cool for a few minutes, so let them cool for a few minutes. We'll be back. So this is the moment we've all been waiting for, or at least I've been waiting for. Before I get to tasting it, just want to remind you folks to like, share, subscribe. Share it, definitely subscribe. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. It's just hit the bell thingy, follow us. It's going to help us out. The other thing is, if you want this recipe, it's down in the description below. So let's get to tasting, shall we? How's that? ANZAC Biscuit. This is beautiful. It smells so good. Can you hear that crunch? It's crunchy. Oh my God. Dude. I know what I need. I need Milo. ANZAC Biscuit, Milo. It's so good. This is why I'm fat. This is good. So there you have it, folks. ANZAC Biscuits from our cousins in Australia. Maddie, thank you for this one. Folks, if you have a recipe suggestion, drop it down in the comments. Again, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching Sugar, Salt, Fat, and Booze.